Some truths do not set you free, they unmake you. The road away from Black Mountain felt longer than the journey toward it. Every step seemed heavier, not because of the miles, but because something had changed within him. The mountain was now hidden behind distant peaks, yet he could still feel it, its silence, its heartbeat, its memories. They had followed him into the world above. The war had not stopped while he searched for the truth. Smoke still rose beyond the valleys. Dragons still crossed the skies. Villages still burned. The cries of the living mixed with the silence of the dead. Nothing had changed, except him. The man who had climbed Black Mountain, believing he knew who the enemy was, had never come back down. By nightfall, he reached a place he knew. The abandoned campsite, the fire pit where weary travelers had once gathered, was now cold beneath a blanket of ash. Broken wagons rested where they had been left. Collapsed tents swayed gently in the wind. A rusted cooking pot still hung above a fire that would never burn again. He stood there for a long time. The last time he had seen this place, he had been filled with certainty. There had been only one path, only one enemy, only one truth. Now, every one of those things had died beneath Black Mountain. He knelt beside the old fire pit. His fingers brushed away the ash. Beneath it, a few blackened embers still remained, cold, silent. He remembered the dragon's voice. The first flame was never ours alone. He closed his eyes. The words refused to leave him. Neither did the faces carved into the mountain. Children laughing beneath Dragon Throne. Dragons and humans building side by side. The old oath, the chains, the betrayal. The mountain had shown him more than history. It had shown him himself. Sleep came only in fragments. Every dream carried him back beneath Black Mountain. He heard the dragon's voice. He saw the first flame. He watched the old council gather beneath the mountain, believing that peace would last forever. Then came the whispers, the chains, the silence. He woke before dawn, his heart racing. The campfire was still cold. The world was still broken. As morning came, the road filled with refugees. Families wandered south with little more than what they could carry. Children clung to their mothers. Old soldiers limped beside shattered carts. No one spoke. They had all seen too much. One young boy stopped before him. "Mister, are the dragons coming here too?" The traveler looked toward the mountains. He wanted to answer. Instead, he simply nodded. The boy hurried back to his family. The traveler watched them disappear into the mist. For the first time, he understood why fear had survived longer than truth. By midday, the distant sound of war drums rolled across the valleys. Once, that sound would have sent him running toward the battlefield. Now it only reminded him how little he truly understood. The greatest battle was no longer waiting beyond the horizon. It had already begun, inside him. "If I tell them," he whispered, "they will call me a traitor." He already knew they would. The kingdoms had spent generations teaching their people that dragons were monsters. How could anyone believe the monsters had once been guardians? How could anyone believe mankind had broken the first promise? He looked down at his own hands. "If I stay silent," his voice almost disappeared, "then I become part of the lie." The wind answered with silence. As the sun began to fall, he stopped beside a frozen stream. The ice reflected his face. He barely recognized the man staring back. The mountain had not cursed him. It had taken away something far more dangerous, certainty. He finally understood why ignorance had once felt like peace. Because truth demanded something, a choice. Slowly, he unclasped the emblem that marked his loyalty to the kingdoms. For years, he had worn it with pride. Now it felt heavier than iron. He looked at it one final time, then placed it upon the stone beside the stream. Not in anger, not in hatred, only in acceptance. He was no longer walking for a crown. He was no longer walking because someone had told him who the enemy was. He was walking because he knew the truth. And once the truth had been seen, there was no returning to blindness. The road stretched into the distance. He did not know who would believe him. He did not know who would stand beside him. He knew only this. The path ahead would cost him everything, his name, his home, perhaps even his life. Yet there was no other road left to walk. He pulled his cloak around his shoulders and took another step. Then another. Far behind him, beyond the mountains, Black Mountain stood silent beneath the evening sky. Yet somewhere deep within his bones, he could still hear it breathing, not calling him back, only reminding him. This was the path he had chosen.